execution. Okay, so that's the long and short of it. Let me bring on board, in fact, Nishant Arya, who's the Vice Chairman and Managing Director at JBM Auto, to talk to us about exactly this and what the outlook is like going forward. Nishant, let me first start off with the order book and where it stands today. You've got those orders coming in from CESL. Talk to us about what the traction is. How much of that are you winning? There was a 5,500 crore tender, I believe, this month or last month. And did you participate? What's the kind of win rate that you have?
Yeah, so currently we have an order book of close to 9,000 buses, and we have been delivering consistently to our customers. In the previous tender you are referring to, we had participated, but we saw that there was a very aggressive bidding by certain players. So we do not want to compromise on our profitability, and we already have a strong order book, which is ensuring that until FY28 we are very well protected with our deliveries, and we would be participating in tenders which are meeting our thresholds, and we are ensuring that we are creating a value which is meant to be delivered over this period of time.
Okay, I know, Nishant, it's going to be tough to quantify, but do you believe that the competitors that you're facing when these orders are, or when these tenders are coming out, are doing business at subpar margins, or are they able to do business at decent margins? Because if you're facing competition, I'm sure so are they. So I'm trying to understand whether they're targeting market share and giving away margins.
I think that wouldn't be something which I could comment on because it is their prerogative. But at least from our perspective, we could not really understand that how could anybody make margins and sustainable margins on such prices. But every company has their own strategy. So that is not our strategy.
Point taken. Okay. Respect that view. With regard to growth, therefore, you've got a very, very healthy order pipeline. 9 to 10,000 buses is what you said you even have
No,
now.
I said 9,000 buses right now. It was 10,000
Correct.
we are delivering consistently. Yeah.
Fair. So you're at 9,000 now. You have a capacity of 20,000, right? What's stopping you from executing all of them fairly quickly and ramping it up?
No, so the STUs and our retail customers have a lead time because they need to set up power infrastructure, they need to set up depots, and the power availability has to be there for meeting this. So that has a lead time basis which we deliver the buses. So there is no ambiguity and challenge with respect to the manufacturing capacity here. It is just the lead time and the whole loop which gets closed as things build up.
A lot of sense, in fact. Yes, you're right. Okay, with regard to growth itself, talk to us. You're at roughly 5,500 crore in terms of top line. I'm talking FY25. You've guided 6,000, 6,500 FY26. You're confident of getting there?
Yeah. Definitely, we'll be between 6,000 to 6,500 in this financial year. And as
higher end of that, would you say 6,500 comfortable?
No, that depends really because a lot of the customers would be taking deliveries in this. So we don't have any loss of revenue anywhere. At times, it just gets pushed out. That's why I had given a range because based on the readiness of as I mentioned, the power infrastructure and the depot readiness, the buses get delivered. So if there is a challenge at that end, then it becomes difficult for us to ensure that we deliver the buses in the given timeline. So the range, therefore, we meet the range.
That makes sense, Nishant. And what about FY27? What's the visibility there? You continue to grow at maybe 20%. Is that something that is sustainable given the kind of verticals that you have?
Yeah, definitely. We would be looking at maintaining or enhancing the growth which we have in FY26 and FY27 as well.
You're currently single digit on tooling. You're 50%, nearly 50% on OEMs, nearly 50% on Auto Anch. Talk to us about the traction in Auto Anch, Nishant, because what we are seeing in terms of the auto sales numbers, even today, extremely strong numbers, especially on the CV side. And that's where you really benefit, right? Because you are on that side of things as well. What are you seeing in terms of traction?
No, traction is very good, as you rightly mentioned, because after the GST reduction, the market is quite buoyant and has responded very strongly. And we are really seeing that there's a very good uptake. So even in Q3, you've seen that our numbers have grown quite substantially in the auto com segment, and in Q4 also we would be seeing similar growth.
But then, Nishant, you're guiding for the same top line despite visibly better signs of growth. I'm trying to understand, what am I missing here?
No, because Q1 and Q2 were not as strong in this year,
Okay.
and
Okay.
Q3 and Q4 are compensating for Q1 and Q2 as well.
So what is the kind of growth that you're penciling in on the auto component side of things? Say FY27, say FY26, you normalize because H1 was difficult, H2 is better. Now FY27, you'll be materially better, right? Because the tailwind will likely continue. What's the kind of growth you're penciling in only on the auto component side?
Yeah, we are targeting about 14 to 15% on the auto component side, but we are yet to receive our customer outlook because the number of launches will be increased in this year. So competition will also intensify amongst OEMs because a lot of models are getting launched. But at the same time, how is the market responding, and how is the other people looking at the budget as well as the next year's outlook? I think will become way more clearer in the next couple of months.
Let me talk about the third vertical you have, which currently isn't present in the top line numbers which I presented, which is the battery energy storage solutions business. How is that ramping up, and how quickly can it start impacting your revenue number? Give us a sense of that.
No, so as you know, we already have a strong order book of 3 gigawatt hour plus
Yeah.
on the battery energy storage side. And there we would start delivering the products from the second half of next financial year.
So H2 FY27 is when that comes through. And what's the kind of revenue recognition? How quickly can revenue start impacting your top line number, and how much will it be? Say FY27, FY28?
FY27, FY28, we would be looking at 5 to 10% coming from the battery energy storage business.
Okay, all right. Point taken. And so basically 20 to 25% growth over the next couple of years. 5 to 10% of that coming, maybe 5% FY27, 10% FY28. Is that the right way to kind of think of the numbers?
Yes, in that range, correct.
And are the margins materially better over there? So, or does your margin range continue to be the 10 to 12% number which you've been clocking traditionally?
Yeah, so we are looking at enhancing our margins constantly. If you see that the PAT margins as well as the EBITDA margins and the absolute growth is consistent, and we are looking to really see that how are we focusing on FATR, the fixed asset turnover, because and ensure that we are sweating our assets consistently, and that's the reason why the depreciation percentage is also going down constantly. So I think these are few key critical parameters, and we are focusing on cash flow, so generating cash in the system.
So you'll be closer to 10,000 crore in terms of top line FY28, if I'm getting this right, if I'm getting the math right, and you'll likely be at around a 12% margin number at the higher end of the band, basis what you're doing today. Maybe you'll be higher than that. Is that the right way to think of the business? You'll be doing around 1,200 crore of EBITDA.
So we will be coming out with exact numbers for the next financial year and upcoming financial years in next couple of months. But definitely we will be looking at clocking 15 to 20% growth in our business on a constant basis.
Oh, but then you're adding battery energy, right? So that should add to your numbers. So I got to 20-25% basis, the battery energy storage solutions plus the auto ank growing at 15% plus the delivery with regard to buses. So would that not happen?
No, that would happen, but the numbers would get crystallized once the OEMs in our auto ank business also define their growth trajectory. The 5% of BESS, 5 to 10% of BESS is definitely going to happen. There's no question about that. On the auto ank business, we are very confident and looking at good growth. But at the same time, we are now crystallizing our budgets for the next year.
Nishant, we've made very good ground. There are three things that I want to know. Debt, CAPEX, and cash flow. What's playing out on these three? Because these three are possibly the concerns. If capex, there's no capex required, that just puts capex out of the way. What about debt and what about cash flow?
No, so we have been really focused on ensuring that we are maintaining our deliveries to our customers, and this year had been quite volatile in terms of the supply chains due to the geopolitical issues worldwide. So we had tried to see that we had created larger inventories to ensure there are no disruptions in our business, which weren't there today. So it will get normalized by the end of this financial year on the debt side of it, especially short term, and on cash flows partially by the end of this year, because again all that inventory will get liquidated which we had created by Q4 of this financial year and Q1 of next financial year.
Excellent, Nishant. This has been extremely productive. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us. It also gives us good clarity with regard to the top line guidance. You don't do con calls, so I'd love to have you again post Q4 to try and get a perspective of what's in store for the next couple of years, because you are non-committal on a couple of things. So I'll try and get that perspective from you.
We like to commit with utmost clarity, so that's what we try and build in. So yes, definitely we'll be sharing that with you soon. Yes.
Of course. Thank you so much, Nishant. This has been a pleasure. And viewers, that's all the time we have on this edition of the show. Stay tuned to ET Now. More action on the other side.